Welkom terug by die groot ontbyt. Ons gesels nou honde. Ja, sit nader. En ons gesels spesifiek oor iemand wat nogal ietsie moois doen vir honde. So ja, Dogtown SA. Ja, hulle het onlangs by die internasionale Companion Animal Welfare Conference die prys gewen vir die International Training Program, die beste International Training Program. Ons gaan vanmôre 'n bietjie gesels oor die toekenning, ons gaan 'n bietjie gesels oor wie en wat Dogtown SA is. En Tracy McQuarrie is hier by ons om daaroor te gesels. Good morning, Tracy.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
It's lovely having you in studio this morning. Let's first, before we get to the prize, before we get to this unbelievable international prize that you've won, let's first start with Dogtown SA. Because it's always better to start with the identity than the accolades. So let's talk about Dogtown SA. Where did it start? How did it start? Who started it?
Well, I'm proof that TV shows have an effect on you because I was actually watching a TV show called Dogtown, which is an animal shelter in America. At the time, I was actually a video editor working on TV shows in a dark room. And I saw this show and I was like, they are making such a difference. I was volunteering at shelters, but there was no real, I didn't see impact of what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I travelled over to the shelter in America, it's Best Friends Animal Society, and I did a course there. I thought I'll do the course, learn a bit, bring it back and give it the information to the shelters I'm working with. And the course was how to start and run an animal sanctuary. And I came back and it was end of the year, November, December, and as you'll know in TV, it gets a bit more quiet after the commercial frenzy. It gets quiet, so I asked the shelter I could help them care for some of their dogs over the Christmas period because I had time, and they were obviously overburdened because that's the worst time in animal sheltering. And I never went back. I never went back to TV. I stayed with the animals. I continued to study. I have a real passion for animal behaviour, so I continued to study, and I went from my first passion to my next passion of animals. And
You started Dogtown SA near Henops, near Hartbeespoort Dam.
when we started, we were actually out in Midrand. It took us probably about 4 or 5 years to try and find a property big enough for the vision I'd had in my head. I obviously had gone to America and seen what they were doing, so I'd wanted to try and implement that because I'd saw how good the work and the setup that they had made a difference in the animals' lives. But it took us a long time, but now we're finally on a size of land that can give the dogs the space to become better dogs.
What are some of the obstacles you face when you start a place like Dogtown?
I think the main thing when I started was we didn't have many people that were very educated in a dog's well-being. I mean, people think you just give food and water and play with them. You know, they also have mental issues and physical issues like we do. So I spent a lot of time and invested a lot of time in learning how dogs learn, how to be better. And then, of course, money. Fundraising is always our biggest obstacle.
And now at this International Companion Welfare Conference, Animal Welfare Conference, you've won the prize for the best international training program. Tell us more about this.
So, because like I said, I'm always looking to learn and be better for the dogs, I take part in a lot of studies and do a lot of workshops. And it was actually a workshop that Dogs Trust in the UK were giving. It was a 2-week course, and I took part in it. And at the end of it, they invited me to give a speech and a presentation at their international conference in Cyprus this year to talk about the kind of work we're doing in South Africa. Because what they found was really interesting was that we are using all the enrichment and the behavior tools, but we don't have all these high-end, expensive toys that they're buying. That's just not something within our budget.
The reality of doing it, yes.
So we kind of do what they're doing on a budget, and they were really impressed because the outcome is the same.
Wow.
So I did the presentations, which was quite nerve-wracking. You know, it's people, your peers from around the world, and I did our talked about Dogtown, what we're doing, how we're making a difference, and then at the end, it was pretty awesome. we won that award, and the only other charity that won an award, I don't know if you've heard of them, the Soy Dog Foundation, which is they deal with the dog meat market overseas, and it was just incredible to be in that kind of category with them. And I'd already just come off the stage all relaxed to finally have the presentation over. I was like, oh, thank goodness. And then they were like, Tracy McQuarrie. I was like, I forget.
And we're going to do exactly the same thing with you now, because we're taking a quick break, and then we want to come back and we want to talk about rehabilitation. We're going to talk about this program that you're using, and we will talk about the realities of rehabilitation, what it means, what true rehabilitation means.
Yes.
For stray dogs and for shelter animals and specifically. And then we want to talk about adoption, because that's the other half of the coin, the other side of the coin of shelter animals. So bly geskakel. Net hierna gesels ons verder met Tracy spesifiek oor al die onderwerpe. Welkom terug by die Groot Ontbyt. Ons gesels vanmôre met Tracy McQuarrie. Sy is die stigter en ook die bestuurende direkteur van Dogtown SA. Onlangs het sy 'n ongelooflike prys gewen vir die manier waarop hulle honde spesifiek oplei in hulle opleidingsprogram, internasionale prys. Tracy, we're going to talk about this international award further. I think the award speaks to the type of work that you're doing, the fact that it is unique to our South African context,
Yes.
And the fact that it differs from the usual South African way of training. In what way?
So Dogtown is mainly run by, and the people that care for the animals are certified behaviourists and dog trainers. So it's not people just keeping them safe, food and water and shelter. Each dog comes in, they're assessed. We put together a behaviour modification program if they have a behaviour problem. Most of the time it's just they're stressed, they don't know what's happening. I mean, you can imagine, you just get plucked out from your home, put in this strange place with lots of noises, and smells they're not used to, and it's quite stressful. And we found that investing a lot more time in their daily enrichment and helping with them with some mental release, more than physical. We've always kind of in the past thought, we have to get the dog out for a walk, we have to do this.
Yes.
And it's a lot more important to do something that stimulates them mentally, and that has a much bigger effect. Going for a walk does do that. You know, if you allow the dog to smell and sniff as they go along, taking the dog on, you know, a very structured walk kind of thing, that doesn't do anything for the dog. That's more for the people. So we focus very much on giving them those outlets for the mental enrichment.
To be dogs.
To be dogs.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions about the dogs that come from shelters?
That they're broken and that they have problems, they have behaviour problems. We're a shelter of over 100 dogs. If we have 10 to 15 dogs that are actually on a behaviour modification program, it's a lot. The majority of the dogs are just happy-go-lucky dogs. Their families have fallen on hard times. They've moved overseas, divorced. They lose their homes for so many reasons. And there's nothing wrong with them. They are happy-go-lucky dogs. They've just, you know, their family landed on hard times and they've had to take the brunt of it, sadly.
And that's the thing with getting shelter animals adopted, are these misconceptions that they are broken and aggressive animals.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily the case.
Yeah. And especially at Dogtown, because we work so much daily with them on enrichment and training, when you adopt from us, we know those dogs. We know everything about them. There's not going to be any surprises. When you raise a puppy, if you don't invest the time and the training into it, you know, you are creating your own problem with that dog as it gets older if you haven't gave them that foundation. So when you're adopting from somewhere like Dogtown, we've put all the effort in. They're already walking nice on a lead. They've got the basic manners, the sits, the downs. We know what their personality is like. There's no surprises. So our team works very hard. When somebody wants to adopt, they might say, oh, I want to adopt this dog because of how they look. And it's not really the way to choose your pet. It's, you know, are you looking for someone that's going to go jogging with you? Are you wanting somebody to sit and watch TV with you? Taking those kind of things into consideration, that's how we choose the right dog for your family. So we put a lot of thought into the process of choosing the right dog for you, not necessarily on looks, but how your family setup is and your lifestyle.
You refer to the fact that funding a program like this is an immense job. How do you keep head above water?
like this. We do so much. We're always fundraising. We ask people to sponsor dogs in our care. If you can't adopt, sponsor a dog. We started a little animal lottery where you can buy a 20 Rand lottery ticket. And at the end of the month, there's 2 prizes. There's a 10,000 Rand cash prize for the winner and 10,000 Rands worth of dog food for your shelter. And those tickets help us care for our dogs and also help us to care for people that are struggling financially to care for their dogs.
Wow. You're saying that you guys obviously work daily with these dogs and it's more than just giving food and stuff. And even on Christmas Day, you did something special. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Christmas is always special at Dogtown. It's something I always, when we first started, I was like, this is it's a magical moment for everyone. These dogs didn't do anything wrong. I want to make sure that it's magical for them. So the day before Christmas, we pack little stockings. Coming up to Christmas, we do fundraising. We ask our supporters to sponsor a toy, sponsor their Christmas meal, sponsor a kiss, a cuddle. We do everything to try and raise funds during this time. And every Christmas, they each get in their little stocking, they'll get some little treats, a toy, and then normally we make the Christmas meal, but this year we were very blessed that some supporters of ours actually made the Christmas meal for them. It's always chicken and rice and something a little bit more flashy than their normal kibble.
Kookos, we call it. Kookos, yeah.
And then the same thing, we're half the amount of staff on duty than normal, but we make sure that we cook. I get up and cook them a little Christmas meal every Christmas, so they at least get to, they're away from their families. Yeah. They're giving their time to look after our amazing dogs. So I think it's the least we could do is try and at least give them a decent meal. And this Christmas was hard. It rained the whole day.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
It was hard. Normally we do really nice videos and photographs and stuff, and like the videos were just like me, like drenched. You know, like we'll do it tomorrow.
It's the hard work that eventually pays off when you get a prize like this, an international award, the recognition for the work you do. Thank you very much for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for standing up for animals. You see, ek raak emotional met diere. I think if you can't cry about animals, you're not a human being. But okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for what you're doing, and the rehabilitation your program that you won this prize for is absolutely spectacular. And I'm certain we'll speak with you later on in the year again.
Thank you.
Nou ja, dat wys jou nie. As mens moeite doen vir 'n shelter en by 'n shelter en jou hart daarin is, dan is die prys wat jy terugkry soveel meer werd. Nou ja, dit is aan Tracy McQuarrie, die stigter en bestuurende direkteur van Dogtown SA, net hier aan die ander kant naby Hartbeespoort Dam.